So I want to show you how to go from a blank payroll or a blank piece of software to where at least you have one payslip. So we're going to follow some steps, and this is what I recommend you do. The first step is you want to set default statutory rates. So let's log in. We select admin A, we log in. To set the statutory rates, you come to employees, rates, you click on rates. I've already set my defaults: PAYE, personal relief, NHIF, and then NSSF tier 1 and tier 2. So those are the defaults. What that means is that every time you add an employee, those rates will be added for them automatically. Okay, so that's step 1. Step 2, you want to activate your payslip items. So you activate by coming to off. In off is where you see all of them. So I'm just going to pick some random ones. Let's take arrears. You activate by clicking that. Let's say house allowance. Activate, yes. Transport, activate, yes. Let's give a bonus. Activate, yes. So I'll only activate those. We can, as we go along, we can add. So these have now been activated, which means that they are now available for you to use to set up pay over here. So that's setting up of your payslip items. The next step to set, well, first you need employees, of course. So let's add an employee. Let's put, you only need the first name and the last name. So let's put John Kamau, and let's put Jane Otieno. Okay, so we have 2 employees in the system. So we are going to set very basic. The only thing they need to start is basic pay. So let's give Jane 100,000, and let's give John, let's give him 80,000. All right, so that's it. So you already have the information you need to run your payslips for these 2 employees. So we have Jane and John, and we've set up their salaries under fixed items. Nothing else. To run their payslips, you come to payslip. We're going to do in November because that's the first month we have. And you run your payslips. Okay. So what has it done? It has added basic pay, but it has also created a full payslip. So for Jane Otieno, and you can see all this is Jane Otieno, and goes all the way to the end of her payslip is here. All those are Jane Otieno, and then below that you have John Kamau. All right. So another way to look at these payslips is to go to the reports, and we open the payslips one at a time. So we are looking at a payslip for Jane Otieno. We've not set a department for her or a role. We've not yet set the PO box. So we come in. So there is her basic pay. She got her NSSF as a tax relief. She has her taxable pay there. The payee on that taxable pay is there. You have NHIF relief, personal relief, total relief, net tax, after tax pay, which is gross pay minus net tax. Then you have the statutories, NHIF, NSSF tier 1 and 2. Government deductions is that. So net pay, that's after tax pay minus government, gives that. And then we have a rounding factor to give her net cash. And it shows the NSSF tier 1 and tier 2. And the same for Mr. John. There is John. All right, so we won't look through his salary. So that is how you go from nothing to a payslip. All right, now what we didn't do, we have not yet set payslip options. We haven't put in organization information. We already put a bit of employee information and a bit of salary information. Now I want to show you, let's start here with payslip options. So on the home page, you can click here, payslip options, and we can say on the payslip I want to see the organization postal address. What else do we want to see? We want to put in a logo. Okay, it's ticked, but we need to add the logo. And we've said department and job title should be visible. All right. Before we proceed, let's add a box number. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Postcode 000. I know such a thing doesn't exist, but let's put it, or let's put a 1 at the end. And let's say Nairobi, Kenya. All right. So that's all we need for. Oh yes, and we want the logo. So let's see, where do I have a logo? I have a logo here. Let's say logo A, and that's how my logo looks. Okay. So with those new settings, let's go to our reports and set up the payslip. So now the payslip has your address, it has the logo. What else did we add? I think those were the only things we added. Okay, but it looks a little bit better. So you can do that. The next thing we want to do is to we've put in organization info, we have put an M, so we want to add something new to the salary. So let's come to fixed items. Let's do something interesting. Let's say we want to indicate housing as 15% of basic. So we can come here, click on formulas. We've got this house allowance over here. Some are preset, so let's just do that. Basic pay, we want it at 15%. I'll explain these things later. So inception, no end. So that's our formula, and we want to add. So you can actually use this little tool here. So we say 0.15, 0.15, and we say we want house November to no end. Let's tick. Yes. Okay. So we've added. So Jeno Tieno, housing is basic times 15%, and John Kamau the same. So let's go back to the payslip and let's process. Done. So house allowance has been added, 15% of basic pay for both of them. Let's add something else. What did we have as items? Transport allowance. Let's say this, we only want it for 1 month. So we come here. So John, transport allowance this month, let's say 3,000. Okay, we're only adding 1 item. Now you in varying items, you have to set which month it's in, which is different from fixed. In fixed items, you say this items, you start using it in November 2022 and you go until forever. So let's change this. Let's say we want to increase Jen's salary in January. You come here, you say 2022 December to close off the 100,000. There's a quick way to do this, but I just want to do it manually like this so that you can see. Basic, I can say 2023 January, and I can add 10% of salary, so 110. Okay, so what we're saying is, let's say all. So for Jane, here we have her 2 lines. We are saying from November 2022 to December 2022, she's at 100,000, and then from January 2023 to forever, she has 110,000. Okay. So now, whatever payslip we run, November, December, and then January, let's do it just as an example. So if we were to do December, we say process, and in fact, I'll show you something else. So her basic is 100, and the rest is, so it's similar to this. We come back to November, let's process. Remember, we added transport allowance for John. So here is his transport allowance for 3,000 bob. And then let's go to January. Even if we process December, you'll see there'll be no transport allowance because we set that only for November. And then let's go to January, and we will see that if I process, it will now pick 110,000, which is what that is. Okay, so I've shown you those 3 months. let's look at the payslip for John. John is on his transport. Now, there is something interesting to note here. You can see you have your basic pay, your house allowance, and your transport allowance. Now, in fixed pay, you only have basic pay and house allowance. So it shows you at the bottom here what your fixed pay is. This is important because I think it's the NSSF. I always mix up. NSSF, I think, is calculated on fixed pay, and NHIF on gross pay. So the system needs to know what the fixed pay is. You can see it's slightly different from there. If the fixed pay is equivalent to the gross pay, it doesn't show anything at the bottom. And in this case, these two items are fixed pay. How do we know they are fixed pay? They were set in payslip items. Anything that has this FP is a fixed pay item. So there we are. So what else do we want to see? Other reports. I'll go into a lot more detail on reporting. For now, you have, let me just tell you the categories. You have payslip, this payslip and payroll details and payroll summaries sit here. Then you have the government reports, which is NHIF, PYE, NSSF, HELB, and NITA. No, NITA is over here. So over here I have bank, audit, and NITA. Then you have annual reports. You have some accounting reports, the journals, and some check reports down here. And then you have reports of data from apps, insurance, pension, SACCO. And if you're doing your tax return, you can get your benefits from here. Okay, so we have done an overall summary. You've seen going from adding an employee to making some setup activities, how to set up payslip items, how to set up default rates. And you can see the 2 employees we added were added automatically. They were given NHIF, NSSF Tier 1, Tier 2, PYE, and personal relief. Right? So of all the rest of the rates, they were given nothing else. Let's say you were using the old rate of NSSF of 200. You would have this ticked and these 2 not ticked. So only this item would be added. So that's what that is. And what else did I show you? We saw how to process payslips and how to look at reports. So that's an overview of the software.